So welcome everyone, good evening. In tonight's meeting, we have Osborn Kwena talking with us. After high school, he wanted to pursue a career in business, but as fate would have it, he ended up doing education with focus on geography and psychology. His first job after college was at Innovations for Poverty Action, IPA, a nonprofit research organization with several projects. He worked under the Wash Benefits Project, which provided water, sanitation, and hygiene interventions in rural areas. His experience working with IPA was an eye-opening experience that shaped his life and career direction. Working in the rural areas allowed him to see firsthand the poverty and the gaps, lack of access to safe and clean drinking water, inadequate sanitation, and open defecation practices. He'll share his personal story tonight, and as you know, he is also a Rotary Peace Fellow who recently graduated this May. So I pass it over to you, Osborn.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Thanks everybody for making time to attend today's meeting. So today I want to share my personal story of how I ended up doing public health, and more so why I ended up in America. So my template today, or my outline, is just I'm going to show you like where am I from, because you can hear my accent. I'm not from here. So I'll share with you where I'm from, something about Kenya, my turning point, my American experience, and the Rotary experience. So feel free to ask me questions later. And if you don't get anything I'm saying, please feel free to ask for more clarification. So I was born and bred in the Republic of Kenya, and Kenya is a very big country. It's a powerhouse in East Africa, and as you can see from this map, we are surrounded by 5 countries. To the east, to the southeast, we have Southern Sudan. To the north, where's the west? To the northwest, we have Southern Sudan, which is a very unstable country. There's a lot of fighting going on here. To the west, we have Uganda, which was basically in war for a very long time. To the south, we have Tanzania. Then to the east, we have Somalia. Then to the north, we have Ethiopia. So Kenya is a big country located in East Africa. As I said, it's a powerhouse. We have a population of about 47 million people. And we have 2 official languages, which is English and Swahili. So English because we were colonized by the British Empire, and that was their form of communication. Then Swahili is an East Africa language. In Kenya, we have 42 tribes. I come from the Luhya tribe of Kenya, which is located in the western part of Kenya, just close to, I don't know if my mouse points, but close to Uganda, just above the what we call Lake Victoria. And you can see we're also surrounded by Indian Ocean. So Kenya is basically, we have a plain, a very good plain. Then we have a plateau. Then we have the Rift Valley. Then we have the highlands. Then we have the lowlands. And then you move into the ocean. We got our independence in 1963. So we are still a very young nation, around 54 years after independence, unlike America, which is around 200 years. Then, so I can say UNC is basically older than my country in terms of democracy. Then Kenya is the largest non-mineral economy in Africa, because we don't depend on minerals such as oil. We basically depend more on the non-mineral service industry, tourism, and a lot of service industry. So that is our capital city, which is very beautiful. It's called Nairobi. Then during the day, this is what you can see. We have a very big park, such as what we call the Central Park in New York City. Then at night, that is how Nairobi looks at night. And most of the cities are in this manner, where they are very well planned, and you can see enough electricity, and that means there's good infrastructure, but not as good as infrastructure in America. But on the other side, we have a lot of poverty again within the city. From the background, you can see the capital city, but on its periphery, you can see, like, this one is one of the largest slums in Africa. It's called Kibera, where there's abject poverty. So there's a lot of contrast between the rich and the poor, and it's well laid out. You just definitely know somebody who is poor, who they're coming from a poor background, and are from poor neighborhoods. Then to make matters worse, when you go to the rural areas, it's even more worse, because people are not able to access basic amenities. And from this picture, it's just a depiction of how some parts of the rural Kenya look like, where people have still mud houses, and they still have grass-touched houses. So you can see, like, there's no water here. You don't see any sign of something like a toilet or a latrine. You can see the land is very bare, so meaning they struggle to get even basic food, and the source of income is at a low point here. So that was just a small background of Kenya, and I basically grew up in a city myself, which is Nairobi. So I really never knew the amount of poverty in Kenya until I started working for IPA. But before I worked for IPA, I really wanted to pursue a career in business, because I believed all the rich people in the world are self-employed. And that was my driving force then, to make a lot of money. And the only way to do that is to go into business. So I wanted to study business. But my mother wanted to be a teacher, but she never became a teacher. She went into the line of management. So she convinced me to do education, because she felt education was a broader career and I could do anything with it in life, and also move to other careers, because it's an interdisciplinary bachelor's degree. So because they say the mother is always right, in Africa mostly, I decided to pursue a career in education. After I graduated, I went into business for a while. Then my mother told me, like, hey, we educated you in a very good school, so why can't you just work for a couple of years and then you can start your own business and follow your own dreams? So I told her, okay, right, fine. Let me apply for a job, and at least to make you happy for a while, and then I'll go back into my world of business. So I applied for a position in Innovations for Poverty Action, which is called IPA Kenya. And it's a non-profit research organization that was hiring people for a particular project called WASH Benefits, which is water, sanitation, and hygiene. And they wanted people to come and start working on the project, because they had gotten some grant from Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation. So I applied. I started from the law, because I just wanted to make my mother happy. So I applied for the position. I started as a field officer. And during my work, one of the ladies who had just come from America, he was called Holy Dance, saw my potential and my work dedication and my work ethics, and she told me, like, hey, I want you to start working on this particular aspect of the project. So she started giving me technical stuff. She gave me books to read, and she provided me some orientation. I think I was the only field officer then attending managerial meetings. So they started nurturing me step by step. And when we started going to the field, it was when I realized how deplorable the conditions were for the people living in these rural areas, because we were trying to see how the impact of providing clean water, proper sanitation, proper hygiene, and proper nutrition supplements to the kids in rural areas can have in their lives or their life expectancy. Because most kids die before the age of 5 from preventable diseases such as diarrhea, which can be controlled through proper water sanitation and hygiene practices. So yeah, moving to the rural areas was a big shocker for me, because I never believed people could drink water like this. Boy, you see this water here? People, sometimes this is the clean water they can never have. They never have clear water. So they have this colored water around brown, muddy water. So that was a big shocker for me, because I never expected that to be happening in Kenya. So when I continued working with them, I also realized, the sanitation situation was very poor, and people were very open and say they were very poor to construct their own latrines. So what they did was they were practicing open defecation, where you go to the field, you go for a long call, then you bury your feces. I'll use that term. And this was still a very great shocker for me in terms of the economy. Like, the money I used to spend on a weekend when I was in the capital city is what somebody could spend the entire year. So this situation and these circumstances really humbled me, and this was a turning point in my life. I realized I think a field I can contribute more to was in the field of public health. So I shared with Holly, she's from Atlanta. And then the good thing with America is they share among each other, because IPA was more or less of Kenyans and Americans and other Caucasian experts from Europe. So after working there for 2 or 3 years, there's a lady who worked at UNC, who schooled at UNC. She was called Hannah Springs. She's from North Carolina, but she's currently working in New York City. So Hannah told me, like, hey, Osborn, I know you wanted to pursue your master's. And by then I wanted to pursue my master's in psychology, because that was my best bet, just to enhance what I'd studied in my undergraduate degree. So Hannah Springs sent me an email with the Rotary link that they were having an intake of fellows for the 2014. So to me, I thought it was a scam. I first told her I'm going to apply, and then never applied. Then she got back to me after, let me say, after 3 weeks, if I had applied. I lied to her, like, yes, I think I tried applying, but it never went through. And then at night, I made this conscious decision just to write to Rotary Foundation to ask them if this scholarship was really something for me to put my energy into, or it was a scam. So they told me, like, I'm qualified to apply for this fellowship. And that is how I applied for the fellowship and won the fellowship. It was very competitive. I had several interviews, and I was selected to join Duke UNC Rotary Peace Fellowship Center here at North Carolina. And that is how I ended up in the School of Public Health, because I had my field experience for over 5 years. I came to do my MPH, which is basically for professionals coming back to school to understand the field. So I came back to do my master's in public health, which I graduated with in May. So school was nice. The Rotary was nice. The Rotary experience was very nice for me, and I was able to learn one or two things which I call the American experience. First is the beauty of this country. I mean, especially the South where I am here, something called Southern hospitality. Just saying thank you, welcome, those are very powerful words that can make somebody feel good about themselves. And that is one thing I learned about when I came here at the South, where people are very, very supportive, and were able to help you when you got lost, when you never had, let's say, like you were looking for direction or you really needed some help. People are very courteous in spending their time just to help you out. Compared to the North, where I did my internship at New York, people don't care. I mean, you're on your own. But here, when I came here, I mean, the Southern hospitality was awesome. One thing, after taking several classes at Duke and UNC, I was able to learn so much about the meaning of democracy and the meaning of freedom. So I can say in America, despite all the challenges people have, I think there's something called democracy where people are able to really follow through their dreams and their passions in order to achieve, because there's enough freedom and opportunity for everybody to grow. Even in my own country, we pretend to have democracy, but the democracy in America, I think it's the pedestal of all. Then I've been able to learn a lot about the history of America. There's a good preservation of history in America, whereby I've visited several museums in Washington, D.C., in Raleigh, Boston. So that experience to me was very good. It's something we're lacking at home, whereby I think the younger generation now doesn't understand the value of history. But in America, everything has been really preserved to ensure that somebody born 300 years to come, they'll be able to know exactly the history of America. And I think that is it's a very good American experience. When it comes to school, there was a lot of social support, a lot of games, a lot of open-mindedness among the professors, whereby students and professors work together, students and students work together. So even being a foreigner who just came through the Atlantic and learning in America for the first time, I was able to feel home, and that experience really defined what America is. A very home, welcoming country, whereby everybody wants you to succeed in your life and whatever you do. Nobody puts a stops in your dreams unless you want to put a stop to your dreams yourself. Then one important thing I learned in school is to always speak, and you speak based on facts. You don't just come up with ideas without facts. So everything must be based on a fact. And that is very fulfilling, because sometimes we tend to speak subjectively, running away from the objective itself. So the idea of backing up what you say, I was able to learn about that you need to really back what you say, so that you can give numbers of facts, so that people can be able to appreciate the content of what you're saying. That is lacking in Africa, whereby even in politics and in governance, people talk of ideas, but they never actualize the ideas. So I can say the American experience has been awesome. I've been able to travel around several states during my last 2 years. And I've been able to learn so much about this country, which I believe when I go back home, I'll be able to use this information just to empower the small groups I can and make them realize that we can do better as a country. So when it comes to the Rotary experience, Rotary was a game changer in my life. I mean, just the idea of getting the fellowship, studying in one of the best schools, public schools in the country, has really built my character as a person, whereby I've been able to learn tolerance and respect for other cultures. Because of all the peace fellows came from different countries. The idea of having that wrong mentality, like all Mexicans sneak into the country. I never knew some Mexicans were born in America. Like about the Chinese, about Americans. So I've been able to be more tolerant to other cultures. And nowadays, I don't believe everything I see in the media because, dealing with the people as a people really makes a difference. And Rotary really enabled me to have that perspective of understanding other people's cultures and embracing them as they are. Number two was a sense of friendship and community. The Duke UNC Rotary Peace Center was very instrumental in ensuring us to have a community within a community, whereby we were able to appreciate each other and we were able to help each other do the best we can in everything we were doing. So Rotary was able to instill that sense of culture and community in me. When it comes to the meaning of volunteerism, I was able to participate in various volunteer activities such as Habitat for Humanity, and then after graduating, I've been able to volunteer in various activities, and that is a very good sense of fulfillment to me. I now understand why people spare their time, like we are doing now. We are sparing our 1 hour in Tuesday night, not watching TV, but just gathering, talking about ideas, listening to other people, and trying to figure out how to help a given cause. So that idea of fulfillment itself and the idea of sparing your time to help other people whom you might never meet in person and who might never know who helped them is very fulfilling to me, because it shows what Rotary is: helping other people and making their lives better. When it comes to family, I mean, the host families have played a key role in all the Peace Fellows' life and transition into American life. Like, I had a very good host family, Bill, the Wickers, Bill and Renee, and the kids have been like family to me. We do everything together when I was still a student and now that I've graduated and working at UNC. So that program itself shows that Rotary and Rotarians have a very good heart, and they're willing to help strangers from other countries feel comfortable in the new countries and just have that idea of having a solid friendship and family. And that is a very big statement when it comes to the backbone of Rotary, the friendship and mutual respect. Then I'll say finally, my goal is to continue working in water and sanitation. It's part of the big Rotary goal. For now, I'm concentrating on my career first, but in a few months, I'll try to come up with a project to see how I can start working on a smaller scale on how to improve water and sanitation and hygiene, maybe partnering with other organizations back at home to see how we can improve the situation and make other people's lives better. So in case you ever want to travel to Kenya, Kenya is a very beautiful country with a lot of wildlife and a lot of friendly people. So feel free to join. And that is all I had to share. Sorry if I missed sharing anything. Thank you.